going for a drive. '19 Alfa Romeo Stelvio
Quadrifoglio. I think that's right, isn't it?
yeah, it's Italian, right?
It is.
So this is our first Alfa Romeo. A lot of you guys have been asking for one for a long time, and I'm glad to announce this thing is friggin' awesome. So I'm gonna give it a quick boot, and then we'll do horsepower and torque.
Go for it, because I want to hear some of that sound. Yeah, that sounds good.
This is a Ferrari motor?
A Ferrari-derived engine.
So they cut a V12 in half.
They cut a V8 with 2 cylinders off, and they made it into a V6.
Okay, so let's get into horsepower and torque.
505 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque from a 2.9-liter V6 twin-turbo. And if you guys are watching this video without subscribing, do us a favor, just subscribe.
Okay, so now let's get to the important part, the sound.
Yeah, I want to talk about the sound first too.
This is literally my favorite sounding automobile ever.
This is my favorite sounding V6 ever.
Here's the thing, it's not too loud when you're normally driving it. So you put it into race mode and it gets so loud from the outside, but not inside.
Yeah, there's no actual button to control it. You can only control it by putting it into race mode, and it sounds so good. Yuri?
Let me do it again.
Send it. Oh my God.
And when you nail an upshift, it's brrr, brrr. In tunnels, it is so friggin' loud, and there's no fake popping, unless like that brrr is fake, I don't know.
No, I think that's just the automatic shifting so quickly.
It's my favorite sound.
It sounds incredible. It's so exotic sounding. Like nothing else sounds like this.
And it's so livable too.
I can't say enough good things about this. I think my favorite overall part of this entire car is that exhaust sound. It's just so unique. It's just the thing that stands out the most between any of its other competitors.
And even its non-competitors.
Yeah, exactly. It's just such a unique sound.
I'm so excited to drive a Giulia now.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I don't know if the 4C will sound like this.
I don't think so.
Okay, but before we get into the rest of the cool stuff, because this is our first Alfa Romeo and we got a lot to cover, today's sponsor.
Pelote Shoes. They are back with another 15% off. You guys have been asking us for months. We finally have another coupon code for you.
And they've got some new styles as well. What are we wearing today?
These are their endurance shoes, part of their 24 Hours of Le Mans series.
Okay, I wore them for a full day at the track and my feet felt great. They're literally my favorite Pelote shoes.
They're so comfortable. They look really cool. They're European inspired.
So I'm wearing the navy ones right now.
And I'm wearing the slate. So time for that coupon code. Go to pelote.ca or pelote.com and enter SPSS15 for 15% off your entire order. It does not have to be these shoes. It is site-wide.
However, I highly recommend these shoes.
Yeah, and it's valid until June 30th, so make sure you get them before that.
Back to the review.
Yeah.
We were talking about the exhaust, right?
Yeah, we were. Oh yeah, another send.
Actually, I think we were done with the exhaust and we should move on to the other stuff that make this Alfa an Alfa.
The looks?
Triangle grille.
Yeah, so main element of an Alfa, that's that grille.
And they've been doing that forever.
Yes, they have.
By the way, their logo is super cool too.
It is. Before we get into all the beautiful things, because this thing is absolutely stunning, can I tell you one thing that bothers me about the front end?
Yes.
It's the little sensor thing at the bottom grille that I can't unsee.
Is that our cruise control sensor?
Whatever it is, it bothers me.
But it kind of offsets the offset license plate, which really is awesome.
Yeah, it is cool, but I still can't stop looking at those fake grills.
But yo, they actually put the license plate to the side.
They did.
Focus RS, I don't think they do that stock, or people complain about that. Mazda, that's what they need to do.
Well, they didn't have a choice here.
I know, but it's legal.
Of course it is.
So all these other companies, by not doing it, they're making their cars look worse for no reason when Alfa's killing it.
Some of them.
Mazda.
I'm not a side plate guy.
On this?
Oh, on this you have to.
Exactly. Same with the Mazdas, I think. Anyways, back to the rest of the looks.
Headlights.
Very, very good LED outline.
Super sexy coming up in your rearview mirror.
Ooh, sexy, Jacob.
This is a sexy car. It's Alfa Romeo, it's Italian, I'm allowed to say sexy.
Yeah, I guess.
It's also a Chrysler product, just so you guys know. FCA owns them.
Okay, now the hood.
The hood is super cool. The vents in the hood?
And they're actually real.
Yeah, everything's functional, at least there.
And then look at the motor.
Here's a gratuitous shot of the Ferrari-derived V6.
And how about the side profile?
Side profile is great. It kind of looks like every other SUV, but nicer.
It's got very elegant body lines, nothing out of place.
That's exactly it.
And especially if you compare it to that Mitsubishi Outlander body lines that we recently reviewed, this is style out the hoo-ha.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Harry.
And then we should probably talk about the fender flares.
Yeah, so I like them, but I don't love them. They look kind of funny from the back.
But you need that to cover the wheels.
Yeah, exactly, because they stick out so far because they're so wide.
Because it's a fast car.
It is.
And let's talk about the thing you hate the most about the look of this car.
What's that? I forgot.
The wheel gap.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is massive.
A whole fist worth.
Yeah, it's even more than that, but I get it. It's an SUV. I think it just looks so bad because the wheels look so cool. That would easily be solved with some air suspension, which this does not have.
Does the competition have air suspension?
Yes, the Macan and the GLC 63 both have it.
Interesting. You know what?
Those are the ones that we've driven. There are other competitors.
It does look like there's too much of a wheel gap, but the way it drives, you wouldn't know.
But let's talk about those wheels first.
Probably the best wheels?
The best wheels fitted on a current production model. I will put that out there. I love these wheels.
It's like a traditional Alfa Romeo look.
Yeah.
I really like it. And then we got those big yellow brake calipers.
Yeah, so we've got carbon ceramics, which are optional. They are $8,500, and I personally would not option them.
But you can still get yellow brake calipers without the carbon ceramics.
Yeah, it's a free option at $0 to paint your calipers yellow, red, or black, which is pretty cool of them to do that.
And then speaking of the cool wheel design, what is the Continental recommended tire for the Alfa Romeo Stelvio?
The Extreme Contact DWS 06.
And now onto the back end.
Back end is a little bland, but the best part of it are those exhaust tips.
They are very real and they look better than pretty much all the competition.
Yeah, they're the realest exhaust tips you can get.
Compared to AMG, it's a cool quad exhaust, but it's not real.
Yeah, and it makes BMWs look like a joke with those new things that they're doing.
Oh yeah, like just a hole and like some stuff behind it.
Yeah, disgusting. This is how you should do exhaust.
What do you think of the taillights?
Taillights are good when they're on, but the brake lights kind of suck.
The brake lights do suck, but the outline matches the headlights very well.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as you're using your running lights, this thing looks great.
And then we got a cool little body line in there with a little spoiler on the top. Besides that, it looks pretty normal SUV from the back, just very elegant.
Exactly.
Sexy.
It is sexy.
As Jacob would put it.
The Julie is also sexy.
I really want to drive one.
So do I.
And then the thing we probably should have mentioned first, the color.
Okay, so Misano blue, this thing is beautiful.
I don't like blues. I've made a rant about that many times.
Yes, you have?
I friggin' love this blue.
It shines, it sparkles, it glows. I love this blue as well.
But I think the yellow calipers help a lot.
They do. And the fact that they're so huge, but I still wouldn't option them. I just don't like how they feel. There's not enough initial bite.
I need yellow.
Yeah, okay.
So Jacob's gonna talk about the power and handling more once he's driving, but first I want to talk about all the weird little things that Alfa Romeo does that nobody else does.
There's a lot of little quirky things, as some people would put it.
There's so much stuff in here that I love more than almost every other manufacturer.
What's that? Number one.
The paddles. They are column mounted and they're so big.
They're so big, they're amazing. I don't like column mounted paddles, but these are so good.
They feel so good when you click them. The gears shift right away. The fast transmission probably helps a lot with that.
It does, but the clicky sound of them, the feel of them, they're metal, they're chunky, they're amazing.
But the column mountedness is kind of dumb sometimes. I've taken turns, reached for the paddle, and ended up just using my shifter to shift.
That's exactly it. So we're both steering wheel mounted people.
But I do really like the column mounted paddles in this, because it feels like a treat. It feels exotic.
It does, actually.
And then the shifter is up for down, down for up, so it is the correct way, which is very nice. Next thing, start stop button for the ignition. Guess where it is?
On the steering wheel.
Like a race car.
Like a Ferrari, I believe.
It's very cool. Every time I miss the start stop button thinking it's over here, I end up clicking it on the steering wheel and not being upset at all. I end up being pleasantly surprised. Next cool Alfa Romeo thing. You can start in sport mode.
Yeah, you can.
You can't start in race mode because to get to race mode, you need to turn the dial all the way to the right.
And it's definitely not called sport mode, by the way.
Okay. DNA are our drive modes.
Yes.
We'll talk about that later.
We will.
But it's pretty cool. And another thing that this does when you put it into race mode is tell you you'll have a better experience in manual mode. Please switch to that.
That is the best message I've ever seen in a vehicle.
Other car companies are like, closed course, do not try this in a commercial. Alfa Romeo in real life, put it in manual mode.
Literally, for best race experience, put it in manual. Is there anything that you found weird about the infotainment?
I heard a lot of people not like it. I, however, had no issues with it besides no rewinding satellite radio stations and no tune mix.
It does rewind satellite radio stations.
Live rewinding, not like the good kind.
I still enjoyed it, but...
So you've got your presets, which you can set up pretty easily. You've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Apple CarPlay goes all the way across.
Both of them. Well, Android Auto doesn't go across, not yet.
It is small, but it doesn't get in the way or anything, which is very nice.
Yeah, exactly. It looks nicely integrated into the dash as well.
Yeah, and to get to Apple CarPlay or your menu, you just click up on the wheel twice, and it's got a scroll wheel, which means it's a luxury car like Mercedes and BMW and the older Audis.
It's not a touchscreen.
It's a very simple infotainment that does all the things I wanted to do, Pretty much just like the Mazda without the rewinding.
The thing that I noticed is the backup camera is not quite up to Chrysler standards, which kind of sucks because the new Rams have like really HD screens.
That is true, and there's no 360 camera on this model.
No, there isn't.
One awful thing about the Alfa Romeo.
What's that?
The turn signal stock.
Okay, yeah, it's old BMW style where you have to like half click it or full click it.
It's very annoying.
It is annoying, but it's whatever.
And then I also noticed that unlike a lot of cars, this one will show every single digit of your speed while you're flying through.
That's an FCA thing, that's a Chrysler thing.
Which is amazing because I don't think Mercedes and BMW do that.
And it actually took me a while to figure out how to control that screen.
Yeah, I was like moving these knobs here on the steering wheel. Nope, it's on the right with the menu button.
Exactly, and there's not much to display there.
Which is good because, you know, sometimes people want to build you a car like this is the best way to drive it. Trust me, you'll like it.
Yeah.
And I do. Like, a lot.
And the thing that it does display that's my favorite is the shift light.
So the shift lights only show up when you're in race mode, but they're very cool. On the sides, it's yellow. Once you get high in the RPMs, it turns yellow, then white, and then it lights up the words shift.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Pretty much when you see yellow and white flashing, shift and you're always good.
But the transmission shifts so damn quickly that you could just be late and it'll be fine still.
So now it's your turn to drive and tell me why I'm correct when I say this is my favorite SUV ever.
Okay, I will. Launch control.
It doesn't have it.
Okay, but here we go, Lynch. Oh, brake boost. Did you hear that?
This is why it's the best sounding vehicle ever.
It is, and it's really quick as well. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.9 seconds. That is stupid fast.
Yeah, it's honestly the perfect amount of speed for me for an SUV.
This is really, really fast.
Is this faster than the Trackhawk?
No.
Okay, but the Trackhawk had launch control, this doesn't.
Yes, exactly.
Because this wasn't very aggressive off the initial bite.
No, because there is no actual launch control. All I did was hold the brakes and gas and send it. So let's talk about that engine and that power delivery. There is no lag in the entire RPM band. Zero lag, and it sounds amazing. I love this engine and I love this drivetrain. Transmission next. It is so damn good. It is the fastest shifting regular automatic I've ever driven.
This is my favorite. I like this more than a lot of cars.
Yeah, I know, but the transmission specifically is just like click, done, click, done. Like, it's just so fast.
You know how there's a lot of cars that have manual paddle shifting?
Yeah.
You don't feel like using them, especially me. There's a lot of cars that I refuse to use paddles for.
This is not one of them.
No, this is always manual all the time. It's just so enjoyable. I think that's what makes the car for me.
I've been driving this exclusively in race mode and having the best time of my life. I've had no reason to put it in any of the other DNA modes.
I have, and it obviously makes it a lot quieter. It makes it a lot more chill on the throttle pedal.
Yeah, which I don't care about.
And then you can adjust your suspension with the middle mode in race, and that'll put you to mid, but you can't go to soft unless you're in D mode.
Yeah, and overall the suspension is very compliant, but it is definitely more race SUV than anything.
Yeah, when I was driving through Cliche Corner earlier with this thing, it pulled through so hard, no understeer at all.
No, exactly. It handles like a car. Like we say that about Porsches, this is now that level.
It's like a Porsche experience, but more exotic.
Yeah, without all the quality, I would say.
Okay.
Some of the interior things I don't like.
Name them.
I'm gonna get to that in a second, but first Cliche Corner. That's way more important. And full send, this thing does have a tendency to oversteer, which is amazing. You can hear the tires squealing. There's some body roll, but not much, considering this is a big SUV. But overall, the steering feel, I love this thing. It's so quick coming out of corners. It's all-wheel drive. It is rear biased, so it feels slightly more rear-wheel drive than anything. I absolutely love how this thing drives overall. Can't say enough good things overall about the driving experience.
And since you said you were driving it in race mode, when you put it into race mode, it pretty much turns everything off automatically.
Yeah, that is also the only way to turn off traction control. So it's the only way to have the full experience. And I love that. That's such a weird thing that no other manufacturer does. So now let's get to these modes. DNA, dynamic, natural, and advanced efficiency.
They came up with an interesting idea and they let the creative team go out and like come up with everything else.
Just find words that fit these letters, and they did it.
I'm okay with it.
So am I. Race, they're just like, yeah, race is race. And the way that we get into manual mode is just pushing the shifter to the left, and it kind of reminds me of BMWs.
They probably took the shifter and the turn signal from BMW at one point and just kept it.
Probably, I guess.
They have an overstock.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay, we should get to some tests for our first Alpha. Visor test.
Yeah, let's do this. I'm excited.
3, 2, 1.
Yes! Good job, Alpha.
And Chrysler. Okay, small cup of coffee test. It's a fail.
It is a massive fail.
It doesn't fit at all. There's so much room below. This is why we do the cup test.
It is.
But I found a way to fix it. Get a bunch of napkins and put them underneath.
I guess that works.
Yeah, but it's still a fail.
It is a massive fail.
I think it's like our first real fail in a long time.
In a very long time.
Okay, how about the box test?
Let's find out. 9, 10, 11. trunk's very slow sometimes. Go to patreon.com/TheStraightPipes to get your own box. So now let's talk about this overall interior. I want to start with the steering wheel.
No, I want to start with the back seat entrance.
Okay.
When you get in from the back seat and all you see are these race carbon fiber buckets, you're just like, what is this crazy beast of a car?
Fair enough. They are very impressive looking.
It's almost scary to be a passenger in the back in this.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, what kind of person needs this in an SUV?
My knees are gonna go into hard carbon fiber.
Okay.
There's no going around that.
So now we can talk about the steering wheel. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
No, we might as well continue with the seats.
Okay.
These seats are ridiculously comfortable, but also very well bolstered.
I think they're a perfect fit for my wrecked back.
Okay, can I talk about one thing that bothers me about these seats?
I know what it is.
So if you were not sitting there in the passenger seat, the seatbelt buckle would be hitting the side of the carbon fiber, and it is so annoying.
But it's also kind of cool because you've got carbon fiber seats and you're always reminded.
You always know that, but it's still annoying. I would put a piece of felt or something there if I was driving this all the time by myself.
Okay, let's talk about your steering wheel.
Steering wheel, great size, and it's the optional carbon fiber one, and it looks amazing.
It's a great steering wheel. It does not fly off when you're driving.
Does not fly off.
It's not too small.
Not too small. Steering feel, like I said earlier, is fantastic. All the buttons are fantastic. Everything's really clear. There's no gloss black, it's matte.
Do you know what I like about the steering wheel buttons?
What's that?
You can program that to go through either your favorites or go through any channel you want.
It's probably some FCA influence there. And then behind my steering wheel are my gauges, and I think that's probably one of the worst parts of this whole car. I think they just look so budget.
I don't think they look budget. I think they look plain and maybe a tiny bit low res. However, they're very simple and they're not cluttered.
They're not cluttered at all.
And I appreciate that. All the important stuff's there, no need for fluff.
But if you compare these gauges to a Mercedes or a Porsche, these look pretty bad.
Well, if you compare this to the GLC 63 we drove, which was the older style, then
fair enough. Yeah, the current
on par.
2019. Yeah, all right. The 2020 is getting updated.
How about the rest of this carbon fiber friggin' everywhere?
Okay, the carbon fiber everywhere is amazing. It just completes the interior. I love it.
I like the green and white stitching on the leather dash.
I believe that is an option.
It looks cool. It's very Alfa Romeo.
Very Italian. But what I don't like is this plastic trim below the carbon fiber and then the climate controls. That all looks very cheap.
That's definitely the most Chrysler looking part of this whole vehicle.
Exactly. That part alone, I just can't stand, and the gauges, and that's it.
Deal breaker or no?
No, absolutely not. I would take this over many things.
I love driving this, and I didn't think I would.
I know. This is the shocker of the year for both of us.
Yeah. I just need to get into more Alphas.
In every live stream, when you guys ask us what car impressed you the most that you were shocked about, this is going to be my answer now.
Yeah.
This is so good.
So let's talk about the price.
Price is actually reasonable too, sort of, in this category.
Hit me with it.
It starts at $95,000, and this one is currently $114,906.
The Quadrifoglio starts at 90.
Correct. The Stelvio is like 50 something, 60 something.
Okay, yeah. I've had more fun in this than I've had in the other SUVs.
This is so fun to drive.
And it's very reasonably priced compared to the competition.
Exactly. It's right in that ballpark, and it competes with them on performance, no question, and it beats them on sound, but that's very subjective.
I'm going to disagree with the subjectiveness of it and say that it is a fact that this sounds better than all the competition.
All right, fair enough. And like I said earlier, I would save myself just over $8,000 to not get myself those carbon ceramic brakes.
They're not as bitey as you'd expect for carbon ceramics.
Exactly, but I would definitely get these seats for $4,000.
Oh, without a question. So don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Check out patreon.com/TheStraightPipes, join our YouTube membership, and check out Peloti.com and Peloti.ca.
And let us know what you think of the Alfa Romeo.
Yo, we love it.
Check out the shoes. They're fantastic.
Check out the sound. Oh.
I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
And we're going for a drive. Subscription break. Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe right now. Subscribe. We didn't do that.